So, you think it's actually gonna be the end of the game this time? I, I hope so, honestly. This game's been real long. I like the game, it's just really long. My god. I thought it was gonna be shorter than this, honestly, because, the first few chapters were so much shorter, but guess not. Also, every time I click the continue button when we first start a stream, it lags for a second. Just for the first time, though. I think it's just because it's loading the save files. God, I hate that noise sometimes. The selection noise. It's too high-pitched for me. Oh yeah, before we get in, I also wanted to say, I recently got and started playing Dead Cells, and it's been real fun. So... what? After playing Dead Cells today, my first ever run, I'm kind of thinking maybe I would do like 1 or 2 streams of it, see how that goes. Not sure when I would do that, but, it might be fun. It's been a fun game. Again, only 1 run, but I managed to beat the first boss, and the theme for the clock tower in that game is real good. I've fallen in love with the game immediately. Also, I haven't drawn attention to Archbishop over here with the puns. Elgeworth, W. Wright, Von Cringema. I can't. Anyway. Game time now. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. It's my problem, not yours. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Gumshoe. Gumshoe out of nowhere. I'm just imagining he just kicked down the door, Chad Shoe. I'm imagining he kicked down the door on his way in. Hope I'm not interrupting anything. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around while on duty. And to top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Oh, time to study. Why does Phoenix not know this? I don't know. He's a defense attorney. He should know this. Also, thank you for the legend emote, Dad. If you don't know, that is actually Tech Racer is my dad. He's right in the other room from me with the stream on. He is your father. That quote isn't even actually in Star Wars, by the way. Luke, I am your father. That's, believe it or not, that's not the quote. Having a lot of technical issues? Yeah, that sucks. My microphone said something was picking up. Huh. Well, whatever it is, I hope it's nothing you guys can hear. The quote is, "No, I am your father." Yeah, exactly. It's not Luke, I am your father. That's misquoted. Anyway, you must know the 2 rules. Wait, hang on. You must know the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule 1: no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Is that right, Mr. Wright? It seems so. You could at least study some evidence law, really. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him? I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. From Ms. Sky explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Doesn't look like that book will do you any good now, though. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Huh? Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth. What? Wow, Citrus Gorilla is still causing issues. Are you playing on your Minecraft server right now? That sounds so out of context. If there are only a couple people here who know that you're talking about someone on your Minecraft server, but if you don't know that, that just sounds like a nothing sentence. The real trial today hasn't begun yet. What? What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you were unaware of. Emma Skye found out she unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal! You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body, which is still probably illegal. That means the real killer is still out there. And forging evidence? Technically? Yeah, I mean, like, she didn't commit a murder, but she is still a criminal. Am I wrong on this? What? And we're gonna expose him, no matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Ms. Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. The Inquiry Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally, this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there is some concern that you, Mr. Edgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses? I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking, and... Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses. What? But there's no precedent for what you're proposing. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. Then it's settled. The, defense may now call forth the next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls. The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer. I wanted to save in case I do something wrong, because apparently there is a right choice. But I'm gonna go with Damon Gant, because, obviously, that feels obvious. I just wanted to save for security anyway, a safety net for this 2-foot fall I'm about to take. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything? As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Before he comes out, though, I never actually read this thing, did I? Oh my god, we have 3 full pages at this point. Oh god. For Ms. Skye explains the 2 rules of evidence law. Rule number 1, no evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Rule 2, unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. That's it. You need the approval of the police, and if it's unregistered, then it has to be relevant. That's a lot of evidence. Yeah, no shit. And I'm the one who has to use all of it. I'm the one who actually has to remember it all. If I remember correctly, someone had said, and I've mentioned this a couple times, but someone had said this is the most evidence in the whole series. In the first game, in a trial that wasn't added till later in a re-release of said game. That's ridiculous. This is a case that you might never even play if you played the original and then immediately went to the next games. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Wrong, every 10 minutes spent slacking will be 10 additional phase fighters later in the Friday campaign. No, 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 Archbishop, please. No, no Minecraft, we don't need more. In all seriousness, though, if you did send 10 phase fighters after us on Friday, I would drive to your house 12 hours, but I would drive over to your house, rip up all of your notes for D&D, and just leave. Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Rip up what notes, Your Honor? They're on the cloud. Fine. Then I will find them on your computer, and I will delete them. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. Oh, like what? Like the role you played in all this. Well, it's a good thing I didn't plan too far into the future then. Did you just tell on yourself there? Please plan farther ahead. Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Just, I'm expecting things could be derailed. Yeah, honestly, with our party, derailing is a guarantee. People do not know when to shut up and just do the puzzle sometimes. And yes, I am calling you out a bit, Archbishop. Sometimes you and our other player do get a little derailed. Specifically Vindin, the character. Look, I'm not calling you out that much. I'm just saying, sometimes you guys, yes, you did solve the puzzle, but sometimes the two of you don't know when a joke should end. Sometimes jokes carry on a little long. Nope. And saved your life twice. Yes, you are right. You should show a little gratitude. Yeah, sorry. But you are right, but sometimes the two of you have jokes go on a little too long. And it annoys me a bit sometimes. That's really what I mean. That's the main thing on my mind. Jokes are okay, but sometimes a 10-minute long joke is too much. For such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony. SL9 incident. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day.
Make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Is that when Dark was arrested? Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. Alright, I'm gonna start with pressing, as usual. As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day.
Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that.
Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room?
I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it.
To make a long story short, we slipped up. The power outage didn't help. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right?
That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first. So Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky.
What's this about a power outage?
Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though.
That's not funny. When I went to my office, I found Lana. Could you tell us what you saw?
It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together.
Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor?
Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Next to them were those two poor girls.
Lana and Emma.
Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done.
Apparently she'd already arranged the crime scene. How can you know that?
Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved.
So that means... you found her body near Lana's desk?
That's right. I think you said earlier, it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor.
Then a child threw a gun at someone and the bullet got lodged in someone's shoulder and he opened the doors and shot the other passenger of the stalled elevator. How long did it take you to write that? But yeah, this game, elevators in this game, they just don't, they're not nice. The first elevator in the last chapter was a murder scene, and the elevator in this chapter caused a murder indirectly. Also, for him to have been able to get to the elevator first, that implies that the elevator was already on the second floor by sheer chance. Like, oh god, that sucks. Because, I mean, there's only 3 floors, so that's not like a super high chance. It's a 33% chance that the elevator would have been on that floor at the time. So he wouldn't have had to wait for the elevator to come. But that sucks. Yes.
Anyway.
Looks like Phoenix is agreeing with me. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office. He said Damon beat them to the elevator, so he and Marshall took the stairs. Yeah, he did say that, but if Damon needed to wait for the elevator to come to him from one of the other 2 floors, then they probably would have been able to reach Damon in time. Like they, no, wait, hang on. That's the wrong names. Hang on. I got the names confused because you said the wrong names. Dark. But Dark beat the 2 of them, beat Damon and Marshall to the elevator. But for him to be able to get into the elevator by the time Damon and Marshall catch up with him. The elevator had to have already been on that floor, or else he would have had to sit there and wait for the elevator to come to him, right? So there, just by sheer chance, he got lucky that the elevator was already on that floor, so he didn't have to wait and the two of them catch up.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable, no matter what the circumstances.
Also, if there's an outage, the elevator should be out of order. Wait. Hang on. Yeah, wait. Hold up. Right, yeah. Don't elevators need electricity? Yeah. Huh. I'm not sure if that's a plot hole or if that's just something that we have to actually take into account. Like, if they're gonna wait, it would go, hang on, wait a minute. There's a good chance that's just a plot hole, but there's also a good chance that the game wants you to think of that. Oh. Huh. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record.
Worthy, always the smooth talker.
But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. Let me see. Evidence for something, but what bears Emma Sky's prints? What does he have to say? A clear handprint can be seen on a leather cloth. The print belongs to Emma. I'll keep its information to myself. We found it in his safe, though. So that's... yeah. That's probably what I have to do, because it has Emma's prints on it, and it was in his safe, implying he hid it so that you wouldn't be able to find her prints. I had nothing to do with the forgery. If you really had nothing to do with the forgery, then how do you explain this?
What's that? And what's that on it? A handprint?
Chief Gant, your explanation, please.
I don't know. You tell me, son.
Huh?
My dear Righto. Don't you know the second rule of evidence law?
Uh-oh, not this again. Evidence law.
Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Tell me, how is that rag relevant to this trial? It appears the defense was not prepared.
I guess it's too early to use this piece of evidence.
Please accept my profound apologies, Chief. Would you mind giving the defense another chance? Well, okay. I'll do it just this once, but only because you asked, Dudgy. Thank you. I assure you the defense is terribly sorry.
Yeah, sorry I didn't nail you. That, phrasing. Simp judge. No, he's simping for the judge. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery. Alright, so what else? The evidence list? Yeah. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that's a claim you cannot back up.
Explain yourself.
Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example.
That's the list Emma Sky drew her picture on.
This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of this jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Gant? These articles of evidence that I stole from your office illegally are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Like, we took the stuff from his office, like, without his knowledge or consent. We don't have a search warrant. Is this legal? Is this okay? I mean, like, it's a good thing we have the evidence, but do we, is this, I don't know. I just want to know, should we legally be able to even do this? Legal? No.
Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Oh, here's a defense attorney who may even rival Worthy.
Don't think so. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery?
Who, me? Or do you mean you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with that?
Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto?
However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation.
Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment.
What? Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying for work.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together.
Evidence in forgery.
Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
Yeah, I just admitted to unlawfully acquiring evidence. Yeah.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor?
When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol. You do understand that I am the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oof. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again. My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Day is, well, you know. Alright, Udgy, in return, though. I know. That place, right?
Huh? What are these guys, telepathic?
For all I know,
Oh, right, hang on. Hey, yeah, safe. For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous allegations. Must want to go to a club or something? I mean, I don't know. Go get ice cream? A restaurant? I don't know what's up with these two.
Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that.
What? I'll have you know, back in the day, I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped...
Mr. Wright, what are you saying? Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're going to need it later.
Later? What are you talking about?
What else? I'm talking about when Righto's prints are found. Yes, if they're found inside my safe, they would prove his investigation was illegal.
I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy.
Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered.
What do you mean by that?
This is all purely hypothetical, of course, but suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery.
If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery...
I'm not through speaking yet, Righto. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered.
If they were found after Dark was convicted, they're worthless. Are you saying this jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation?
It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced.
Oh, and wouldn't that be convenient, right? The Chief is talking about a possibility, so long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know.
Come now, Righto. Think about it.
There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Side note, I love the fact that during this case right now, both me and Edgeworth are both against Gant. like, I'm doing most of the work because, he kind of has the evidence forging stuff on his ass, so he can't really do much. But he's just like, look, I can't help you much, but I'll try my damnedest. Mostly by throwing sarcastic remarks your way, but hey, I'm trying. I'm pretty sure over half our investigations are illegal. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. How can you look me in the eye and say that? It's how he shows love.
Because I'm innocent. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? I'm not sure I care for the word murder here, but in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye. Well, now do you see?
Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. Really, Chief Gant. At the very least, there is one large benefit you've reaped from all this.
Oh, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit?
That would of course be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Oh.
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive.
Ho ho ho! Oh, that's a good one.
Huh?
Do you really think I'm that incompetent?
What do you mean?
Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. I can't read.
Is that true, Edgeworth? Yes. He was going to be made chief anyway. Gah.
Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might wind up being the one pointed at.
So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else.
Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. It's out in the open now. Gee, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. I wouldn't be anyone's accomplice if there was nothing in it for me.
Nothing in it for you.
Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again.
You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone.
Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised.
You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though.
Ho ho. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy.
Huh. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? Huh. Who would he help out? The only person I can think is Lana. Right? Huh. I'm going to save before I do anything, but yeah, Lana's the only one I can think of. True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Mr. Wright, it appears you are positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand.
That's not what I mean.
Very well then. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence?
Again, Lana's the only person I can think of, so...
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant?
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor at the Prosecutor's Office. person who arranged this job change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would he profit from all this?
He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations.
Do you mean to tell me that despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh, wait. You must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. What is with this judge, by the way? Your motive, to appoint her as Chief Prosecutor so you could control her.
Righto, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something.
What?
Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing?
Lana, she's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant.
I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture.
Unless, that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident? Which one would that be?
Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. The Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. I love the judge. Yeah, the judge is great, but dumb. Almost as if someone has been controlling her.
Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt.
So what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
What? Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement agency. You accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder? That's impossible.
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier-to-understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a higher-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder?
Maybe. Depends. We'll see. Corruption in law enforcement? The horror unheard of? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright's got, and it better be good.
I'm gonna save again. Just... I'm pressing... oh, backspace is back. That's right. It's not escape.
Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman.
Well, I tried the cloth earlier, but, of course, evidence law. So... And I'm not looking at Joe Dark right now. I'm looking at Detective Goodman. Yeah, Marshall's locker, the print had been wiped. So this, yeah, that was Marshall's print. Oh yeah, that's right! I forgot about that!
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. 7777777.
Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number.
It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7777777. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. That's a new sprite.
Order, order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say?
Nothing. New sprite. I like the new sprite.
The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations.
And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you. New sprite dropped. About the use of this ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime? What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want.
Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone?
I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do in the evidence room.
Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he?
Of course not. Why would he be? I hadn't seen him in days.
You hadn't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to have to ask you for evidence. And also to save your game so that you don't fuck up. Joe is the proof that the victim went to meet Chief Gant.
Huh. I have so much evidence right now, but can only be submitted to the Chief of Police. So that's probably what I have to go for. Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police.
Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it.
He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
He needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Oh.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him?
There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room.
Hold on. Let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman.
Exactly.
But wait. The Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it,
Nope, I accidentally skipped that. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. Yet you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. No! Holy God! Speaking of new sprites, that was straight up a JoJo sprite. It was I, Dio! Yeah, you missed him going JoJo mode. Yeah, he literally did the JoJo Ree! My voice cannot do it, but, you know. He straight up turned into Dio.
Chief Gant, you didn't...
The murder was most likely a spur-of-the-moment crime, for no one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there?
I was at the police department the entire day, you know.
And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal.
Oh, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey, you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so.
Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. All this time, I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space.
How could the chief have moved the body?
I'm going to save the game. Then figure it out.
Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. Imagine if it's the Blue Badger. You know what? Even if it's just a joke, I'm gonna do it. Oh my fuck! I'm sorry, but the music cut out, the health bar went away. Don't tell me that was right. Well...
I see. Maybe I'll use this later to move your dead body, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
And I'll help you dispose of it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. My joke was in fact just a joke. It wasn't... Okay. For a second there, I thought I accidentally got it right from just jokingly throwing out the Blue Badger. That scared me on a visceral level. Chief Gant stayed at the PD and Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office. That leaves only one possible way you could have moved the body. The only problem is, how did he get him to do it? Maybe that piece of evidence really did have something to do with this case.
How would the chief have moved the body?
Huh. What if it was just in Edward's car? What? Is that actually possible? It was already in Edward's car and he didn't notice it, so he drove from the police station to the prosecutor's office? Hang on a minute. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body.
A parking stub. Miles Edgeworth.
You mean... The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know, I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony finished that day. But you did return. Tell me, why? Ah! I was asked to go. My chief again, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Ms. Lana Skye.
Order, order, order! What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed in the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk.
Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. My time's up? Sorry, Rhino, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're to make it in time for the early bird special.
But the cross-examination isn't finished yet.
Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal.
Weapons?
Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. What? That is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this?
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now.
Well,
You think I had Lana dispose of the body? If so, then show your proof and get it over with. I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright?
I keep saving out of safety precautions, I guess. Your Honor.
Do you have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Ms. Sky dispose of his body.
Do I have any concrete proof? Becoming a race car. I still want to know what the cloth is for. What if I just say I don't? I'm curious about that kind of stuff. Like, if I just don't do it. Huh. Can't let him just squirm his way out of this. I've got to keep the pressure on. Yes, Your Honor. I do have such evidence.
Then please hurry up and present it. Just remember, it better prove Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman beyond a shadow of a doubt.
No prints. He always wears gloves, doesn't he? And I'm still... Why still haven't we found out whose handprint this is? It feels like it should be important. What was with this phone anyway? What exactly did it say? Lana told you she used the knife to replace the one Gant put in Goodman. Yeah. SL9 is written on a small tag. It was the weapon used in that incident 2 years ago and has known many victims. But it actually wasn't, though. Huh. Did we ever identify all of the blood on this? These blood traces are from Bruce Goodman. He must have tried to run after he was stabbed. Blood is splattered over the surface. It must be Lana's blood from the cut on her right hand she now has bandaged. Huh. Nope, not what I meant to click. I meant to go back. Huh. I mean, I'm assuming you're trying to hint that you want me to present the knife, right? So, I guess I might as well. But I am iffy on it.
So, what exactly is this evidence?
Yeah. I kinda figured. I was correcting what you had said about Edgy's knife. Ah. Having thought Gant used it. Oh, right, yeah. The victim, Bruce Goodman's blood still remains on the blade. Yeah. So, wait, did he get it? He just asked, did Edgeworth get the knife because the handle matches his clothes? That's adorable if that's true. Huh. We did find this, like, most of the pieces in the evidence room, right? But then again, it would have been in the evidence room from that other murder. Huh. Might as well present it. Just to see. Yeah, nothing. Present my badge. Huh. I still don't understand what the cloth is. I want to see the autopsy report again. February 21st, between 4 and 5:30, loss of blood from chest wound. Wound was caused by a 4.5-inch knife. A single stab wound was found. Wait... A single stab wound? So... Wait... Wait... Hang on. That would mean that... Hang on, you said that you were correcting what I said about the knife. Lana told us that she used the knife to replace the one that actually killed him. But if it's a single stab wound, she didn't replace jack shit. 2 knives, 1 stab wound. Yeah, but how can there be 2 knives and 1 stab wound? If she took 1 knife out and put another knife in, there'd be another stab wound. Unless she somehow managed to put the knife directly in the exact same wound. She took the knife out of the wound and put the other in the same wound. There would be evidence for that, I would think. That you can't just do that so casually and easily. Between 4 and 5:30 as well. And the times here... Yeah, so... anyone on this list would be in that time frame. But of course we know that it's 4:20. I can't believe he died at 4:20. Huh. Yeah. Yeah, okay. If it practically erases the shape of the original blade by it being stabbed deeper. What are you talking about? What's with the memo, anyway? Like, he wrote this memo at some point. When did he do that, though? Who wrote the memo, actually? Do we even know that Goodman wrote it? Yeah. But I am wondering about that memo as well. Who actually wrote the memo? Because I remember in the first bit of this chapter, we, like, Damon wanted us to present the memo. For some reason. Hmm. Parking lot with Edgeworth's car. I don't know what to present here, not even a little bit. Prove that he killed Goodman without a shadow of a doubt. I was trying to go to the next page. Huh. For some reason, my brain is saying the shoe, the glove, or the cloth. I don't know why those are the things that my brain is running toward. God, I hate this jar. I doubt any of this is gonna work. Yeah. I doubt any of my 3 guesses are even right. Again, I don't have any reason for why I'm thinking of those 3 specific things. It's just like a gut feeling for some reason. I think because we haven't used them really much. I don't know. Yeah. So none of it's right. Just about what I expected. Huh. I'm trying to figure out this puddle of blood. Was that from that initial murder of Goodman, or was that from the scene with Meekins being stabbed? Or yeah, knocked out. He got his hand cut. But that's a lot of blood for that, I believe. I believe that was something they called out. So, I don't know. Because I'm not just trying to say, oh yeah, here's evidence that someone died in there. I'm trying to specifically pin Gant to it. And I don't know. I really just don't know. Huh. I may need the guide again. God damn it. I feel stupid. I feel like I'm an idiot. I feel like it's staring me obviously right in the face and I'm just not seeing it. Yeah. I'm just throwing shit at the wall and hoping something works because I don't know what is right. Just present the badge. Not the phone. Not the phone. And yes, I am aware I am just save scumming. But either way, if you lose, you just go back to your last save anyway. So, it's not like that really matters much. Blue Badger. Go! Fuck, I kinda expected that, though. Does anyone have the guide up, anyway? Yeah, I definitely need help from it right now. Because I have no clue. I don't even remotely have an idea. What? Can you choose I have no proof? Is that where we're at? Otherwise, go screwdriver? But we already presented the screwdriver. No. What? You mean I have to say I have no proof? It's no use showing evidence I'm not even sure of myself. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. You mean to tell me that that's actually the right solution? To just say, no, I give up? What? What? So I'm not being stupid. The game is being stupid. That's bull. Why? Throughout this whole game, they give you these options, and the answer is always, go for it. You do have the evidence. It's always that. But the one time, suddenly it's, nah, we'll let him go. We won't finish this case. Why? Why should we? What? What? Ugh. In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief. Well, why would they present the question if the answer is always yes? This was... They should have mixed it up more, I agree. Yeah. Like, the thing is, throughout... Like, this last chapter was added after the fact. So all those 4 other chapters were in the original version of the game. Every single time, the answer is always yes. So they only changed that up after the game was re-released later. So that tells you they didn't even think of that at the time they made the game. They didn't think, oh, let's fuck them up at the end. They just put the questions in there for no reason when they first made the game. Just cuz. But now suddenly they're going, oh yeah, we can actually fuck the player up. For no reason. And it was a good time to switch it up? No, it wasn't! That's bullshit! You can't just say, oh, because they switched it up, that's clever. No, that's bull. Like, that doesn't feel fair. At all. If you're not saying it's clever, then what are you saying?
Here's a tip. Never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Udgy, I'll leave the rest to you.
That it makes no sense for it to be a question if the answer was always yes. That's what I mean. It doesn't make sense for the answer to always be yes. So why has it always been yes up until now? And why especially was it always yes when the game was first released? Why? They set no precedent. There's no precedent for that. Like, if they were going to have the answer be no, even just on occasion, they should have had at least one other time where the answer is no. Why does there need to be a precedent? There needs to be a precedent because if there isn't one, then you're in this situation where the player is flailing around like an idiot, and then they feel cheated. 'Cause I feel cheated. I didn't even know that if you fail, you go back to the multiple choice, because I just assumed that you would just have to present evidence until you're right.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency.
Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. Lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method is proof of testimony. Or of proof of testimony, whatever. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions. Raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edgeworth, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling the witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor, the defense calls forth... Lana.
The defendant? Is Lana Sky?
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Prosecution has no objections, Your Honor.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now in
Hold on. Who?
Huh?
Oh.
Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder.
This isn't good.
Of course, you never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess.
Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth.
That chief, he's something else, eh, pals?
Detective Gumshoe.
I'm not a detective anymore.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office.
My office?
Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with.
What do you mean? Maya?
Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand?
It's not fair, he has the right to refuse to testify.
Settle down, Wright.
Remember what the judge said.
But Chief, that is not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
Risks? What did he mean by that?
It's simple.
If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Oh. Hello. Emma, are you okay?
Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her, said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her.
What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. Forced herself to do anything and everything the chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold.
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal. Society. We live in a society, Batman. I know that's not the quote.
And Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
I see. Well, we better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you wait here?
No, I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
Let's go, Wright. It's time to end this. Not to be continued. I'm doing this. I'm finishing this goddamn game. Yes, yes, yes. I appreciate that this entire game can be played with just a keyboard or just a mouse. I tend to swap between the two depending on what I'm doing. But you know, it's good that there's both options. Like for example, when I'm selecting evidence and moving through the list, I always use the mouse, but when I present, I always press E on the keyboard for some reason. Or I mostly do.
Now then, will the defendant, Ms. Lana Skye, please take the stand?
Ms. Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I am sure you're aware of what is required of you.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Ms. Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course. The truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant.
Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant. Gant in the fabrication.
I've worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dart convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. But Lana!
If this is true, then that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
But what if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister.
Hang on, but blue text is supposed to be his thoughts. What?
Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself.
The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Could be mumbling, I guess, but I don't know. Up until now, it's always been just his thoughts, but I guess he could have been mumbling to himself this whole time. But no one noticed until now. I worked alongside Gant for years. How many years exactly?
Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then, so that would be 5 years.
Detective Gant and Detective Skye were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases.
She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia.
Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why.
There's no truth to his blackmail theory. But think about it, Ms. Skye. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail.
You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And...
Hang on, wait, but
you can't present the testimony, but doesn't the jail have cameras? And a guard? What? What do you mean I can't present that testimony if there was a camera and a guard listening? Was the guard not listening? Does the camera not have audio?
Not said under oath. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Did you do so to help your sister? Joe Dark was a serial killer. Even under oath you could be lying! Who the fuck gives a shit? My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life. But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything. That's not the point. She was traumatized that day all because of that creep. But then you would be committing perjury? But even then, like, if you're trying to hide something, who cares? Like, if you're lying with the intent of getting away with said lie, then how does that, committing perjury, how does that change your mindset at all? Who actually cares? Like, at that point, if you're intending to lie in your testimony, regardless of whether you're committing perjury or not, you'd have already made up your mind that you're going to lie. Why does the threat of perjury change your mind at that point? That's why I couldn't forgive him. We can't know if someone's lying, but being under oath is the best way we can be sure. I fucking hate this world. Why? Lana.
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago?
When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I arranged the crime scene. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Do you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken Prosecutor Award knife was stuck in the victim's body. What? But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Drake? Something like that. If that is so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me.
So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound?
And then you moved the body?
But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask her for the sake of the others. Why did you plant the knife? But why did you do that? Come now, Mr. Wright. Even you should be able to figure it out.
Very well, let's add this to the witness's testimony. The reason Miss Sky fabricated the knife.
I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof we needed. I'm gonna ask the other question first, though. Why did you move the body? When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body? It was where you deduced it was, by Chief Gant's desk. But the body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Ms. Sky moved the body.
Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and moved the body. Right. I accidentally, this thing I already did. Yeah, I knew that would be all the proof we needed. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon, right?
Yes, and leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body.
So you buried it inside the victim's stab wound.
Yes. Because I hated Dark for what he did.
So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer?
How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period.
Are you so desperate to hide that fact? You're willing to risk the death sentence?
She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister's lying.
Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself.
There's no way she could have done it alone.
I've got to get Lana to talk more. If she's lying, then she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence by myself. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and moved the body. Is that new, or did she already say that? Did you do so to help your sister?
Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life.
But what she did was justifiable self-defense. Yeah, I already went through this. And it had nothing to do with Emma. Huh. I'm trying to remember. Gant admitted that the murderer had that Dark was knocked out. And hang on, I wanna actually check the autopsy report now that I think of it. Wasn't there an autopsy report? Yeah. Cause of death, single stab wound piercing heart and lung, died from blood loss in under 10 minutes, weapon found in wound was missing tip. The weapon was found in the wound. I'm going to save, but saying the weapon was found in the wound makes me think it wasn't just the tip, and that it was the whole knife that was in the wound. So that's my immediate thought, but it could just be phrasing. A knife tip was found in the wound, it says here, though. So, yeah. So I guess they just mean the tip for the report. By Chief Gant's desk. The body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? The reason is simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Ms. Sky moved the body. Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. Pieces of the jar? You mean...
Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So... when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course, it had been shattered to pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be cleared right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle.
I see. What's the matter, Emma?
Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there's more to it than that.
There must be a contradiction here somewhere.
Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone.
Huh. Pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. She said she did it alone, but one of the pieces was in the locker. And if it shattered during the events, then how would he have wrote Emma on the jar? Because the jar was would have been shattered, according to her testimony.
Hey, look here. It's hard to make out, but there's a red stain.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, that we've already talked about that. Miss Sky, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister.
You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered?
If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I am compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction in my testimony?
You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan."
That's right.
Do you have a problem with that?
It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood.
Yes, the prosecutor must have written it in its final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died.
Ah.
He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar.
Order, order.
Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. We may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards which we're headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Edgeworth is British? What are you talking about?
Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony.
Oh, because bloody was spelled differently? Is that what you're saying? What is that what you're saying? I don't know. The only bloody message is gonna be your last will and testimony.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar, but it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out.
Bloody is a stereotypical British thing to say. Right, yeah. Well, that's a stretch.
To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. So the jar was already broken.
It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case.
Hey! But not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You were an ace detective who never missed a detail. You really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces?
Normally I would have.
But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar?
No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust.
Well, that helps my case.
Lana, you'd do that for me?
It seems you two might make up yet.
Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was.
If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry.
I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking.
Be safe. Yeah. Oh god.
Go on, ooh. I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what truly happened.
What do you mean?
If you really thought Dart killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood.
What else could I have done in that situation? Lana, I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. Fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all.
But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in that office.
The detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. Even I carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece.
Wiping them clean before they were discovered. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene.
Yes, I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time.
It's not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident.
No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office.
More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony.
Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way. I think I finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around. Hang on. Yeah, changing. I'm sitting in my chair. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. But you didn't, though. You say you're sure, but the jar was... We found a piece in the safe. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals the truth even you were unaware of.
What?
We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really didn't know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was... still blood on it.
But the witness just testified that she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off of them.
Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece?
I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective.
That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They were in my mouth all along. Can you believe that?
Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken.
Oh, that.
There's no way it... Sudden yawn. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness.
I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. At the time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar?
The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that?
No. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here.
Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her recreate evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Ms. Skye became the Chief's puppet. She bit her thumb and actually there was blood.
No, I did it on my own. Please, sis, stop trying to protect the Chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone. I don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients.
Foul lies? Imagine that coming from my own client.
I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth.
Wait a minute. What if... we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap.
Something wrong, Mr. Wright.
Lana, maybe right after all. What do you mean, right?
So you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
Miss Skye, please testify once more.
But...
if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall.
Miss Skye, if you will.
I can't.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore. This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there is a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
Alright, the witness may testify once more for the final time.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on the suit of armor's sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable. The body was impaled on the armor's sword.
You were the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What, to me?
The picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you.
Very well, Mr. Wright. Please present this picture.
I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I do seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere.
I would assume it's the evidence law book. So now if I check the book, it's actually the book I see and not just the text inside. I see. There it is. Hey, there's a picture here. I love how low-res the picture was at first, though.
Oh my. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had rearranged everything. Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from the vest, could that be...
The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this?
This is a handprint, isn't it? That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whosever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? What are those fingerprints? They're yours, Emma.
Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer.
Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
I wish I would stop yawning. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body— oh. Well, that was sudden.
Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen.
Ethan can't.
What now? What? Now you want to make me out as the bad guy too?
Ah, Patrick jumpscare. My voice isn't even really Patrick.
If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense.
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
What?
You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Oh. That's not Gak, that's Re. So what?
You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements.
What do you mean? Why am I yawning?
The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
He doesn't stand a chance against Shaggy. What? That's such an old meme.
Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone. So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves you knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt.
Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer.
Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now, and if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries.
What do I do now? I better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall. The cloth, I guess. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. Unfortunately it follows with both of those. I kinda have to. Yes, Your Honor, I do have further evidence.
Alright, the time's finally come to show it to them. Those prints have gotta be the chief's.
Now then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
I have to, don't I?
It's a piece of leather cloth?
Yes, it most likely was cut from the victim's vest near his chest. What's this? There's a big handprint on it.
Surely it must have been left on the cloth by whoever shoved the victim into the sword.
What? Whose fingerprints are on this?
I'm sure Righto has checked, haven't you? Well, whose are they?
They're Ms. Skies. Ms. Emma Skies.
What? They're mine? So I really did do it.
See, I told you it was conclusive.
But this was found in your safe. That means it's possible you forged it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember any cloth in my safe. Do you really expect me to believe that?
But... Give it up, Mr. Wright. It's over. You shouldn't have presented that. By presenting that evidence, you tied Emma Sky to Neil Marshall's death. No.
It appears we have our killer.
This game actually has multiple endings? That's a thing? Oh, okay. This game does have multiple endings, huh? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
What? You lie.
Chief,
Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know
yeah,
I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together.
Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it.
What are you talking about, Chief Gant?
Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut for some reason.
You mean you had this in your safe?
But that means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence. This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana.
So you really were manipulating her.
I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid.
So you assisted Ms. Sky.
I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room.
And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dart convicted.
When I tampered with the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you.
2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe?
But why? For insurance, of course.
Insurance?
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed.
You mean you were calculating... Wrong voice.
You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood of all the pieces.
But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too?
Ho ho ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance.
You mean that piece of cloth?
Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright?
So you admit to it then, Chief Gant, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe.
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that, being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer.
Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago you said you didn't have any evidence you could present.
Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late.
It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. But if I just don't, again, still can't. Hang on. Actually I still can't. No, it's too late to show the evidence now. Besides, even if I did, it'd just expose that poor girl's fingerprints. Right, think hard over the circumstances. The circumstances? I'm talking about then and now. There's one major difference between the two. Weren't you waiting for that difference? So, Edgeworth figured out my plan. But Edgeworth was the one who hurt me? He was the one who took my health away? That's new.
Mr. Wright, this is your only chance.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
I pressed enter by accident because enter is not present for some reason. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest?
Oh yes, at least you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth.
Your Honor, the prosecution requests that be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly.
You mean?
It could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence.
Ho ho ho! You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy.
What?
Think about it. Righto had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be?
Yeah, he did just do a Santa, you laugh. You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that.
Mr. Wright, do you really know?
Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they?
Very well, I'll tell you. You should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is...
Emma Skye.
What? They're mine?
I'm sorry, Emma.
But why? Why didn't you tell me?
Oh ho ho ho. You're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along. And you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death.
How could you? You monster!
Miss Skye?
You knew whose fingerprints were all...
I can't read this line for some reason.
You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't.
Miss Skye, it's not over yet.
What?
I said this trial isn't over yet.
Huh, but I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue. Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer.
Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up.
Oh, and what's that?
Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall?
What?
Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask?
It was Emma Skye, wasn't it?
I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about?
I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict?
Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Let me see. There should be, hang on. There should be blood on it. Yeah.
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
This is the picture Ms. Skye took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, But that piece of cloth... Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah.
Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time.
No, this is nonsense.
Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Ms. Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword? Ugh. Then to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. A jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue, and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest? Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. No! It's finally all over.
Oh, that was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Order. What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Edgy? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence.
But that's not fair!
Oh. Did you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth?
True, illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal.
Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems at last. The time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it, that you purposefully hid and illegally concealed this piece of cloth?
What if I just say no? I admit, I refused to present it at one point.
Oh, so the evidence is illegal.
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then, it's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Wedgie, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't really believe.
There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not?
Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now.
Wop. Yeah. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department, I guess? This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence at law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And, here's the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident.
What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago. No.
He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh, yes. No.
It was then that you approved this cloth, as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the Chief of Police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you.
No.
Oh, new clap. He's going insane. Yeah.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty.
He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Star, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right.
If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me.
Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit.
He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence.
Goodman came to me that day.
You've automated spaghetti? What does that mean? What does that mean?
He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he decided to speak out.
In Minecraft? Why? Why are you like this? Why, though? The court finds you guilty of playing Minecraft during stream.
What are you talking about, Goodman?
Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? You can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered.
He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said,
It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall.
Well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out.
Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime.
Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake.
The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it.
And you put the body in my car.
I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will.
Ugh. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how? How can you get Ms. Sky involved in all this?
Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out.
So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. That's pretty far from being lazy. Or what would Garfield think seeing you multitask? That's far from being lazy. Why?
I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take.
So, you left the jar fragments in the glove.
Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay.
Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that.
Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court?
Me?
You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone.
Instead of performing your duties as a mod for the stream, the very stream which Garfield has brought you to the light. I can't believe you're doing this. You're actually you're Phoenix writing him.
Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Wedgie.
What?
Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend.
I'm sorry too, Damon Gant.
I knew you as you used to be long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Wedgie. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. No, you have Righto here. And Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
There are two things I want you to understand. Yes? First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Ms. Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today.
So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Miss Sky. I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. My. What high standards you have for a rookie. I can't believe the two of you are actually having a fight in chat as if it's a court. God. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. Miss Sky. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job. I'm reading what you guys are doing in chat, by the way, just not allowed. Just saying.
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Ms. Sky.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're innocent of murder, however, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains.
Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky.
Not guilty. We are done with the video game.
That is all. This court is adjourned.
At long last, it's finally over. Yeah, Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit.
No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended.
I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. What? You people. And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well.
You know, I did my best too, but Lana didn't say a single word to me.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
In the wrong voice entirely at first try.
Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later.
He does this so often. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You got a lot of nerve. Yep, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run all around while on duty. To top it all off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see someone.
Lana!
Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know.
Well, I won't tell if you won't.
There are two cops right there, right behind him. Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day 2 years ago was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis.
I asked Aunt to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake, but now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
But sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day, and hiding what I believed to be the truth. I was deceiving you.
Sis.
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
But sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis, I always knew that one day you'd come back. And now you have.
Oh, Emma. Emma. Happy. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find a way back to our rightful path. And it's from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe.
Me?
Thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth? Edgeworth? Stop hiding and come over here. His face. I'm excited for Chapter 6. Shut up. Where was he hiding? I just came to say, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Right, well, I'll be going now.
Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you.
It's too late for me. No matter what anyone may say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes.
Mr. Edgeworth!
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right.
You despise criminals, I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man.
Stop yawning.
You'll see what it really takes to bring him down once you try to go it alone.
I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. But in order to fight crime on my own, I need a weapon. It's scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now. But Edgeworth, who knows? Given enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor.
Edgeworth, don't you understand? Demon Ganta and your mentor Manfred von Karma were both the best of best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright, and because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered.
And a gun is a weapon!
Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Oh yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright, show him what Lana's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Huh?
This, I guess?
They just don't change the dialogue for that. I hate that clicking on it doesn't present it. That might mean something to you, but I don't see how it had anything to do with our partnership. Huh?
Mr. Wright, it seems you still have a lot to learn as well.
I guess that wasn't the right piece of evidence. It's time for me to go.
Mr. Edgeworth.
If you'll excuse me, there's still some loose ends that need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what? Wait.
Wait, hang on. Load the game!
Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you. I know. It seems I owe my thanks too, right? But what I face now is my problem. Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court. Farewell.
I'd better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation? It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis, I will.
So another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. As for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. Huh? What is it, detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the chief prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But... I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Ah. Way to go, detective. I didn't know you had a wild side. Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here's the one who will be footing the bill. Huh? What? Huh? You think I could afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal. Huh? Dad? Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best. Why is it? I suddenly feel like I want to scream. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together? Yeah, that's a great idea. Come on, guys. Let's go. And that's how the credits happen. A journey of self-discovery and coming out to Edgeworth. Oh, I arranged for a friend of mine. Oh, I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top coroner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Those text boxes are automatic, by the way. Yikes, I thought I was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation of the chief's office. If we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. It just goes to show, you can't shake me off that easily. Chief Gant, more like Chief Gone. You spelled chief wrong, it's I before the E. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for me today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm gonna make detective. Yes, sir, then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe. Of course, they had to give us a screech right at the end. No, no more, no more. Please, no more. Get him out of my sight. Oh, he's dead. He died. At least it isn't playing the song. Yeah, that's true. The song's the worst part. Yes! I think you mean yes! What is it? What is it? Can't you see I'm having a showdown with my... Oh, Miss Star managed to sneak this into me. She's seeing one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. Even gave Bambine a backer smile. Can you make sure Billy and the gang get their water? Oh, the infinite hair exploiter. Yeah. I can't believe that was snuck into prison for him. A fucking knife. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. Why was there a pause? As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The Right Way lunch. The top lawyer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer's as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout theme. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. I'm trying to read these text boxes fast, but it's not quite working because I have to do the voices too. Gay! 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 I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he's been doing a
something or other for, how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I'd better be... Huh? Oh, no. I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go.
Hey, someone in the credits had the name Patrick. Oh.
Ah, nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, I can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick.
Are they going through all of the characters in the game? Please don't. I might not remember most of these voices. I wonder how long the credits even are, actually. Oh, Edgeworth. Mr. Ed... Oh.
Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, I brought you your tea. What's going on?
I guess I got the bad ending because I presented the wrong thing, and then like, right at the end, you're kidding.
Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book.
Oh, we're doing this again, huh? That's adorable. Rise from the Ashes achievement. Actual statement. And that's finally, actually, for real, no jokes this time, the end of this game. Too bad there are also 2 more. I guess Justice for All is gonna be, after Sonic, not next time, hell no. I was also thinking with how long this game ran, maybe next time, instead of doing the game all in one, maybe, it would be, like, doing... Yeah, don't do all the next game at once. Yeah, the idea is maybe next time I do a chapter or 2, then go to a new game for a little while, then another couple chapters, that kind of thing. Kula is in favor for it, but what about everyone else? How's that sound? Like, do a couple chapters, then another game, then a couple more chapters, yada yada. I don't care.
You don't care? What do you mean you don't care? You're my mod!
You should care. In all seriousness, though, for my own sanity, that's probably what I'm gonna do. Because this game is good, but, oh god, it was way too long. I started to lose sanity toward the end of the game, just playing it over and over without stopping. It went way, way too long. I care about the integrity of this chat and all its members. Anyway, I'll also watch whatever you stream, unless it's FNAF, but for your own enjoyment. You say that, but guess what? FNAF Plus is getting close to release, I think. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. he's doing live streams and he's getting the menu done, so I assume that's close to the end. But I don't actually know for a fact. But when it does come out, I'm playing it no matter what you say. Not if I have anything to say about it. Too bad you don't have anything to say about it. No, you don't. I could time you out if I wanted, okay? Ignoring the fact that I don't actually know how to do that. Transferring the launch codes to me now. Right-click a name? You have to right-click? No, I'm right-clicking his name and it's not having anything appear. Yeah, you gotta left-click it. Yeah, left-click the name. You have your mouse button swapped around or something. Get timed out, loser. Oh, I'm unable to time you out because you're a mod. Well, that sucks. Well, there that goes. Anyway, in all seriousness, though, unmod him and time him out. Anyway, in all seriousness, though, joking aside, I think I'm gonna get going. I'm getting tired. I'll see y'all later next week for some Sonic. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.